Okay, great. Hey, this is Gary Rockman, your real estate rock star. Welcome to Connection. I've got a great guest for you today. I've got the great guest, Zenora Knight, author of The Curse of the Bailey Women. The Curse of the Bailey Women. So I'm so excited to have her on today. But before I actually officially bring her on, it wouldn't be right for me not to do what I do, and that is to read blog of the month. So, folks, again, you can always get the blogs on the website GaryRockman.com. GaryRockman.com. You can always get those blogs, and I'm going to go ahead and read the one for January. It is called $1 billion of work. $1 billion of work. I really enjoy these blogs, folks. So hopefully you will actually go to the website and check these out. But $1 billion of work. How hard can one work to be a billionaire? How much physical effort does it take? Can you really work so hard that your input equals the examples of lives of people I follow, Richard Branson, Reginald Lewis, Warren Buffett, Robert Smith, say no. Now, yes, you do have to work hard, but none of these people or the count say their physical effort was the biggest factor to their success. How hard can one work to be a billionaire? How much physical effort does it take to turn out $1 million? Well, the short answer is no one is physically capable of the thing. Some might think of athletes argument, but if they really think about it, professional athletes' greatest attribute is their physical ability, not but is not ability, but more their high mental ability to call greatness out. Our greatest strength is our will and its ability to connect with the universe, to call into existence what we desire, which simply means our success comes from a greater place than our selves. I've heard many successful people tell stories of how they wrote down, spoke, and even envisioned their dreams, only to shortly after doing so have an unexpected person or thing come into their lives that provided the game-changing thing that was needed to propel their success. I I recall in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich of countless people who were either healed of sickness or changed because of the dominating thoughts in their mind was to either heal themselves or change the human condition. Eventually, transform themselves physical, eventually transform themselves into physical reality. So my study and own self evaluation reaffirmed this to be true. The majority of my success and failure has been the cause of what I have told and sold my. As you make your New Year's resolution, work on making them happen. But more importantly, believe that you deserve them and truly believe that they will happen. Be and it is. Month's blog, folks. Check it out. $1 billion worth of work on the website, GaryRock.com. And without further ado, I want to bring on this incredible lady that I met at a book signing here in Baltimore, book fair here in Baltimore, where the Baltimore Book Fair, and she was one of the many authors there that I had the pleasure of meeting and highlighting, and her story and her energy was kind of just motivated me to want to know her more. Actually, you know what? In honesty, I think also let me go back. It was the Congressional Black Caucus legislative weekend is where I met Miss. So I'm all over the place, folks. I'm meeting a lot of people, a lot of different places, but actually that is where I met her. But without further ado, Miss Knight,
Good
welcome
morning.
to Connection.
Thank you.
How you
Thank you.
doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Well, thank you for coming on, and let's get right into it. The first question I always ask every guest, the show connection, we do try to make a deep connection with all of our listeners. This show broadcasts worldwide. It's a live broadcast. It's going, two different platforms to actually a podcast channel as well. And there is some young lady or some young man who right now may be listening or may listen to a recorded version of this, and they they need to hear your background. They know, where does Zenora come from? How was she raised? What made her tap into your life, the encouragement of actually becoming a published author. What gave you that drive? What is the purpose, and how can you kind of follow that same path?
Okay. I can appreciate that. Well, my background is a Southern background. I was actually born in Newark, New Jersey, and the 50s, late 50s, early 58, and I lived in Virginia, and small, which I think that it was such a blessing on a farm, and I was raised by my grandparents. And that, I think, made me into the person that I am because I really appreciate my Southern roots and values. But I have to say that I always worked. I had a job. I worked for the Department of Social Services as a child protective worker for 30 years. And I kind of fell into um, the life of an author. I never set out to write a book. I worked 30 years, and what happened was one day I was sitting at my computer, I had downtime, and I didn't have anything to do. It was never a problem on the job just to, if you had time, you didn't have anything to do, you could just be creative, do your own thing until it was time to actually go out and, make home visits. And I wanted to do something to help my typing because the progress notes and everything was always had to be done by the end of the night. So I started typing and I just started writing down my feelings. So I said that to say that I fell into writing because I never intended to write a book.
Mhm.
But and then one thing led to another. I just kept writing, and then it was like, this is going somewhere. So in the back of the book, I talk about a lot about how characters always write their own story. I truly believe that I'm just the vessel, if I may say, for them to speak the platform. So it's been a journey. So the book actually became published at the time that I retired. So it kind of like fell into it. So it's been, quite a journey.
All right. So this was kind of your retirement. Um, you know, more free time, more time to yourself, more time to kind of think about things and be more creative. Your creative side. Would you say that?
I guess you could say this, like reinventing myself. I don't use the word retirement that much. I like to say that I transitioned into doing something different, being me. And it's a new journey for me, so I'm learning as I go along.
All right, good. Yeah, learning is you know, y'all took that stance, right? We continue to
Yeah.
grow and learn all the time, no matter what. So I applaud you on your transition. One of the things you said too, you were a caseworker for 30 years
Yeah.
in child protective services. Um, how does your background, I guess, title of your amazing book, The Curse of the Bailey Women, how do they kind of, I guess, coincide with each other?
I'm not so sure if it did, but I can tell you what the working in the Department of Social Services kept me grounded. It kept me to appreciate the person that I am. I went into all aspects of people's home, from the low economic class to the very rich and famous, and it made me appreciate who I was and just the just being me, not wanting what anyone else had, and being it humbled me, I guess I could say. And it humbled me just being able to go out and meet different aspects of people and see the different walks of life, how people live. And it's been a great experience. I miss it, but it was time to move on.
All right. Yeah. My wife's clinically and she's been practicing social work now.
Okay.
Man, I want to say
What?
about 20 years herself. Yeah, yeah. I I've heard many stories.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So hey, but the curse of the Bailey women. Now, when I actually, I think I asked you this when we met. But what made you come up with the name? It's such a to me, it's such a powerful name, and the cover.
Well,
It reminds me of it reminds me just it has a feeling. And if you're really looking, I'm actually now really kind of noticing the woman in the background. This is an incredible. I want folks to see this that are watching this on YouTube. But this is an incredible cover, and it just leaps out at you. And so, can you share how you came up with the name um, and 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 the story?
okay. Growing up in Virginia, being raised by my grandparents, I used to hear different, stories, and I took a lot of that and embellished upon it. Like a certain part of the book talks about is a character named Frog, which I got that idea from my grandfather. Though this person, Frog, in the story was anything like my grandfather, but my grandfather had a sawmill. He had his own business, and it just interacting and hearing different stories from growing up made me come up with the title. And then relationships, failed relationships also helped to come up with the title. A lot of people in my family, a lot of the women are divorced and they didn't have, good relationships. And it's just something that I think once you become impregnated with the story, it has to come out. So I think a lot of my southern experiences and just hearing things growing up helped me to come up with the title. It kind of like it just came out. It had to be called. A lot of people ask me, why Bailey? Why not another name? Why not Jones or just a Smith? And I don't know. The character wanted to be called Bailey. It has no significance. The name Bailey. The character's the name that had to be used. I really
Okay,
don't.
okay. So so you said the stories are kind of stories from your childhood, different characters that people in your lives, and you kind of embellish. But why then? The what makes their stories or these fascinating for the reader to want to pick up and keep their attention.
Well, like I said at the beginning, when I was start writing, I was only practicing my typing, and for
Hmm.
some reason, this story, this book has, which I've been hearing from my readers, has a lot of twists and turns. It touches all aspects of life. This is what I'm hearing, the feedback that I'm getting. I'm hearing that it's a page turner, that it, and it has a villain in it. I think that all women, not I shouldn't say that because a lot of men are reading this book as well and enjoying it.
Hmm.
But there's a character that's a villain, which I think that all women can relate to. So I don't. It's fascinating. A lot of people say because it does touch all aspects of life. It makes you cry, makes you laugh, and they're enjoying it.
Hmm.
So
Well, share with what's which story is your favorite story in the book?
my favorite my favorite story, my chapter, because one of the things I have to say, I have the book here in front of me too. It has 34 chapters. A lot of people pick it up and they see it and they say, "Wow, it's thick," but it's an easy read. So I think my favorite story, that my favorite chapter is chapter 3. It talks about a country girl. I can really relate to that, because I experienced some of the things there, like playing, outside with one a little girl who wasn't allowed to play with us because it touches a lot during the time when I grew up. It was like during segregation and how she used to be. Her mother would come and would, tell her, she couldn't play with us, and she would spank her all the way home, and then she would, come back anyway to play with us. So I love that chapter. I really, and then I love the chapter Power of Prayer. It's just a hiccup. I kind of love it all. But I had the most fun, I would say, in writing the chapter, the homegoing service. I think that was the most exciting chapter for me to write.
And
But
why was that one the most exciting for you?
well, that chapter touches because that's really and something that happened and through life, But one of my best friends who was actually killed at a funeral, and that she was went to a funeral, and she actually ended up she was in a domestic situation, and she actually the person, her stalker, the man she was trying to get away from, actually ended up killing her. So
Mm.
that was I enjoyed writing that chapter because I could actually think back about that, about that experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't know. It's like I said, it's just a journey. But I'm hearing people tell me that it's inspiring them, you know, to once they read the book. And this might be a little bit off the subject, but one of the things that I've coming across is I travel a lot with this book. Since I'm retired, I'm trying to get it out. And I meet a lot of other people who walk up to me and say, "Oh, wow, how did you get started? How did you do this?" And I just say you just have to go with it. You stepping into a world where you might feel like you don't belong, but if you're not comfortable with it, you still that's your go. That's the green light to tell you to go ahead and to write and let the world see what you're about or what you can do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
One of the things that I really like about it is that it's short stories. So there are a lot of just different, like you said, it's a fairly thick book, but because of the written, it is really like a bunch of short stories. You can skip around, you can jump back and forth. Um, if one of the chapters kind of catches your attention, it helps you. Hey, I like bittersweet. I want to check that out, and after I read that one, there may be another chapter you want to read. So I like that it's kind of designed there, and like I said, it's a beautiful cover. Uh, but when it came to now the curse, what's the actual curse of the Bailey women? As can you kind of share with us what that curse is?
Well, I'm not giving too much away, but this story actually has a setting. It takes place in a very small town called Fort Mitchell, Virginia. There's no red lights because the town is that small. If you drive through it, you may miss it. So the family there, the Baileys, felt that they had a generational curse that was bestowed upon them by one of their ancestors' promiscuous ways, that they would not find happiness or true love. So the main character's name is Anna Bay, and I don't know where I got that name from. Anna Bay, it just the character wanted to be called Anna Bay. Her mother, Bet Bailey, wanted her to avoid the curse. She felt that if she didn't pursue love or happiness, that she just accept the fact that the family, just by her being born into the bloodline, that she's cursed and there's just no way out. But Annabelle had the strength to say, no, this is not for me. I'm not buying into that. And she had the courage to go out and to try to live her life. So I said that to say that a lot of us, when we grow up, there's things that we're told, because I feel our parents tell us what they know, and then that's only fair that they would. But then when we become adults, we have to be able to make a decision as to what's best for us. But we always remember where we came from, what we were taught, our values, that we still have to go out and, live our lives and make a decision for us. So that's one of the most rewarding things that I've gotten out of this is the reflection, being able to reflect back and to move forward and keep reinventing. So that
Hmm.
was the first. They believed that they felt that they wouldn't find true love or happiness, and all the Bailey women felt that way. And Annabelle, the main character, felt that it was more like a myth, things made up for entertainment, and she wasn't buying into it. I think I
So
got that.
you can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, great. So now it's kind of seems like this book has inspired you to even do more writing. So you're currently working on a second book called, if I'm not mistaken, Dirty Hands.
Dirty hands.
And a little bit about how that's going and what made you write Dirty Hands. What's making you what's inspiring that book?
Well, once the reader finishes the Curse of the Bailey Women, they're going to want more. Because it's a family saga, they're going to want to know what happened to the characters. And Dirty Hands is just a continuation. But I have to say, I truly believe this, that I'm just a platform for my characters. Once they become impregnated with them, there's a story that has to be told. So I really think that I have a lot of the Dirty Hand material that I wrote, I think, prior to the Curse of the Bailey Women, because when I was writing, certain characters became stronger than the others, and it led to this part of the book instead of the part that I originally wanted to write. But it basically, like I said, if you read it, you're going to want to know what happened to the individual characters, where they're going with their lives. So that's why I have to write Dirty Hands.
All right. Okay. Good stuff.
Some time because I'm really not a known author, so I have to really push to get this out. But the readers are now asking me what's going on, when I'm ready for the second book, but we have to give it some time. I think maybe perhaps 2 years it should be out.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you're giving this one some time to make some real tracks, and then gonna
I think so. It's important. I have several. I think just crossing the country. Actually, I'm going to be. I haven't done anything locally. I did do something in Connecticut, but I met you in Baltimore. I've been to Houston, Texas, Chicago. So now I'm taking the Curse of the Bailey Women to Newark, New Jersey, which is where the characters actually. It's important to go there because that's where they actually live. What at Fort Mitchell. It
okay.
takes place in Newark, which I have family, so I'm very excited. That's going to be in April. And then from there, I'll be in San Francisco, and that'll be in May. And Atlanta, Georgia, different places that I plan to travel. The
Okay.
journey.
When was the book published originally?
The book actually just came out 6 months ago. So it came out at the end of July.
All right.
And Yeah,
Yeah,
just came.
how are sales going?
I'm waiting now to find out how my sales have been on the Amazon through the web. My publisher said that he'll be getting in touch with me this week with my report, but I can tell you that I've been selling books on my own. People are intrigued with the cover. They want to know more. So on my level, it's been going well. My greatest success was when I was in Baltimore. The people there were so warm and they wanted to know more. And but I think it's going well.
All
But like I
right, good stuff. Good
said,
stuff.
it's
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. Now, so um, with all the things that are going on around the country as it pertains to women, young women, done a show recently because we've had so many of our young women being attacked with and having to defend themselves, though there were those around, and that we've got that going on. We've got a lot of just sexual abuse. How does it's some it seems that there's also certain parts or a message uh, in your book that you're also trying to share with young women or women as a whole. What is that message that you're hoping they take away from this book?
Well, I think that women have to. I think they have to stand up for themselves and figure out who they are. I think that's the key. I know you're referring back to all that what was on the. It's true, but I don't think that sexual abuse and this is something that's been going on, I guess, since the beginning of time. And I think now women are more. They have a platform now to speak out about it. But I would say basically just know who you are. Don't settle or don't look for someone else to make you. You have to invent yourself and not to rely on anyone. And you have to be careful out here. Um, and that's what I would say. Just basically not settling and just doing all that you can do for yourself. It's nothing like the person who has his own. Don't just have to know what's for you, and that's what I would say to that.
All right, no, appreciate that. Yeah, take time to get to know yourself.
Know yourself. It's so important, and just do all that you can do to make yourself a better person. And if you know something is not for you, and you have to trust. I think women have to trust their gut also, not to get into the status of married. Because they want to be married, they want to have a man, or they want to have a significant other on their arm. You have to have happiness. You have to know that that's what compliments you. Not what you're doing something for the public to see, and then behind closed doors you're unhappy. You just have to do yourself. And it's okay. And to know that it's okay to be, to do yourself and to until you find that true happiness, whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with that. I was actually just sharing. Me and my wife talk about that often. One, nobody can make someone else happy, right?
That's
You have to
it.
kind of come happy yourself, right? And hope, like you said, enhance each other because you're both in a place, you're both in a stable-minded place.
And
But one of the other things that I noticed that you share as well is the uncluttering of your mind, and you kind of talk being able to tap into your creativity. Do you feel that uh, making your transition from working a regular uh, job in social work to uh, becoming a writer uh, has kind of helped in that, or how do you what would be the advice that you have for folks to kind of find a place where they so that they can clear their minds. I mean that so many that's kind of I think the biggest challenge for so many people is all of the just extra stuff.
That's true. But I was blessed even before I was blessed, I should say, before I stopped working. I think what happened is that a lot of people get so busy, and it's not, I want to say it's not by choice. I mean, we have to live. So we have to go to work. So if you work a 9 to 5 job, you go to work, you get up, you gotta get go on the race to work, and then by the time you get home, you're tired. You gotta cook dinner, you gotta do all that. There's really no time, for a lot of people to tap into their creative side. But for me, I was blessed with the opportunity. I was working daytime, and I went to night shift when I worked because Child Protective is 24 hours. Always has to be someone on call. So I had a lot of time, and I didn't carry a caseload. So I didn't always have to think about what happens. When I went to a home and I finished my work, when I left there, it was passed to the people who worked days. So that gave me time to slow down. I had a lot of time on my hands to tap, and then that's when the creativity started flowing. I learned how to knit. I learned how to do a lot of things before I started writing a book. So I would say, find the time, to for yourself. It's important to find time for yourself. Even though I know we have to work, we got responsibilities, but decluttering the mind and finding time, taking care of yourself, whether it be a vacation or just taking a few minutes for yourself, I think that the creativity would start, would flow. I think everybody has a creative side. It's just a matter of finding it. That's what I think when I think that because of the race and world that we live in and all that we have to do to survive, it interferes a lot of times with that. It's like really finding ourselves.
Hmm.
So, but
Hmm.
find the time if you can, whether it be a few minutes or a day, but you have to take time for yourself. It's important.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm
Mhm.
someone who likes to. I agree with that as well. Yeah, this is some good stuff. You're never too old to learn something
You
and be
always
nice,
learn something.
regardless.
That's true.
Never too old, and to be nice regardless.
Always.
So how does one do that? All the things that are going on in the country, kind of to be nice always, ooh, regardless. Ooh, how do you? I mean, because you like a person that is absolutely nice always, regardless. How do you maintain that posture?
Well, I think if you're a nice person all along, you really can't help it. You just can't let what goes on in the world change who you are. There's times I've been at work and someone may treat me a way that I think is not nice, and then I may try to change. So I'm not going to be nice, but it doesn't happen because it's not who I am. So I think that we can't let everything that goes on around us really affect the person that we are, and we have to continue to show love and be. You can't be selfish. You always have to be. I'm a giving person. I love to give. I love to make people happy. And some people say to me, "Oh, you're too nice." I can't help it. It's who I am. I'm always wanting to give, and I think if you give, you're so worried about, giving the other person going to have more than you if they're not going to give back. You don't worry about that. You just
Right.
give it makes you happy.
Yeah, Zenora, when is your birthday?
I'm a Gemini, June 2nd.
June 2nd. All right. You know what? So, like most of my best friends, my favorite uncle, my daughter, all Geminis.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it's like it's almost kind of amazing. I can actually not know a person, and we'll just strike up a conversation. I'm like, it's such a strong connection. Like, I, what's your birthday? And they tell. I'm like, man, this is. I mean, I'm telling you, like, all my life, some of my best friends, some of my closest friends still today. I'm a Leo, and I don't know if it's I know they say that we're kind of fire signs or whatever, but yeah, most of my friends. So I know uh, I know your temperament, if you will. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely
Yes,
giving, loving people. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. So Zenora, so do you have so who you have your next book coming out? Um, how I know you're going to be doing some traveling. You said you're going to was it San Francisco and some other cities and states around the country. Uh, they can't see you there. Do you have a website? Are you kind of speaking locally anywhere where people can catch you?
Well, like I said, what I plan to do, I will be in New Jersey and Newark, New Jersey in April, but I do have a website. It's ZenoraNight.com. I'm on Facebook. I've been getting out. I've been joining a lot of social groups. I went out recently with the Brown Girls, which is a nice platform for women to get together and have brunch. I I haven't planned anything as far as within the next month. I thought I would take this time to start writing and getting into that creative mode of writing the book because I really wanted to come out in a timely fashion. But I'm open, if anyone wanted to, um, they could go on my website and ask me to, if they want me to come out and speak. I would love to do that. I'm also going to be targeting a lot of book clubs. I think book has it's a conversation, it respects conversation among women and men and just people in general. So I think that's one of the things that people can contact me if they want through my website, and I would be glad to come out and speak.
Great. So now I know you heard me at the beginning of the show, trying to recall really where we made our connection. Was it here in Baltimore or was it Congressional Black Caucus? I'm
Both was going on the same weekend, I think, but we met at the harbor. You were
okay.
there with Hunter,
Yes.
yes, and
Yes.
with
Okay.
Herb.
Yeah. I've been moving. I've been going all over, even with my book. So I've been meeting a whole lot of people, a lot of authors, and couldn't, when I was like, man, where did I meet her? I know it was kind of close to the same time. But yes, yeah, yeah. So that was a great,
Yes,
great time.
then Hunter asked me, if I wanted to come out. I was You were there with your wife, and then you were right next to her group, and she said, "Well, come out and meet Gary and speak." I was like, "Oh no, this is a first for me," and I did, and I was very truly grateful, and I felt blessed for that opportunity.
Oh, well, good. We do too. We do too. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Hunter is a close friend too. So I was
Yeah,
actually we were there, we were so supporting her, and I thought I'd do a live broadcast there to kind of bring more focus to what she was doing, and she told me to bring my book as well, and I put a couple of books on my desk there, but it was really all about her and the rest of you great authors that weekend.
yeah. I like one of the things in traveling. I've been meeting a lot of authors and just encouraging people that they have a book in them, write it, let it, release it for the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so with me, I mean, my book I published just a couple of months, I guess, before you did in May. And been going similar to you all, kind of over the country with the book. I'm looking this year to go out of the country with the book, but
Oh, wow.
uh, but now one that I read right before the show. I've been writing these blogs now for almost 3 years. Be 3 years. Yeah, I think 3 years in March. 3 years
Okay.
in March, and uh, eventually I'm even looking to make them into a book. So it's like when you get that I kind of feel like I don't know if you feel the same, but when you get the bug, it's kind of hard to put it down. You open up some part of your brain, it starts to flow. So that's how I've been
That's
feeling.
true. I would agree.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Zenora, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Look forward traveling on you and seeing where you're going and seeing how the books are doing. So I hope that you'll stay connected with me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, folks, I hope that you all enjoyed today's show with Zora Knight as much as I have. Please, please go to Amazon, pick up her book, The Curse of the Bailey Women. Look at this cover, The Curse of the Bailey Women. Uh, Pick up her book, make a review, let her know how much you enjoyed it. Keep following her. Go to her website, www.zenoraknight.com, and just keep following her. She's on Facebook, and she's doing her thing. She's to do the same, to write, and to continue to learn and grow. So until next week, folks, that's my show. Your host, Gary Rockman, your real estate rock star. And until next week, keep moving forward.
I'm off right.
So, Zenora, yep, I'm actually